What's going on, BMCC? It is your host with the most, Jaffe G. And I'm here with a very special guest. What's your name, Mel?
Alisha Bunting.
That's right, BBDO's in the building. Can you explain your role?
Yes, I'm creative technologist at BBDO, which essentially means that I'm a combination of a very creative, nerdy person, but in application, we have a lot of different teams. So BBDO specifically is an ad agency. We have, some historic clients like General Electric, FedEx, AT&T, things like that, the entire Mars family. And out of all of these different teams and groups, we work a lot to be more innovative in our workflows and process. And usually someone might have a cool idea, or they might have heard about a technology but not really know how to apply that to the campaign we're working on. And I'm that resource that they would come to and say, how does this work? Can you look into it for us? Can you build a prototype? Has anyone done anything like this? Pretty mixed bag of skill sets. I kind of get my hands dirty, but I think the biggest thing is, I'm just always learning, consuming technology.
What is the most recent technology that you've had to implement at work, and what did you go to school for in order to get the skills to be able to figure out how to implement these different technologies?
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is AI, obviously. So generative AI has been one of our specific focuses in media because, obviously we work now in the remote era, being able to scale things, globalize, doing translation. So for me to do that, it all started with education. So I first started doing workshops with the agency on how this tool is, how it works, what's the legal implications, ethical, how it affects society. And then we started becoming partners in the space, making sure we're using it mindfully, ethically. So that's kind of like one of the biggest ones that I've been getting implemented, and it's like consistently evolving, and we're always adding new tools, tools where you put in a video in English and it comes out in Japanese with the person's voice sounding the same, just in that language.
Interesting.
Yeah, so crazy stuff. In terms of what I went to school for, so I went to school in New York City, actually, Marymount Manhattan College.
Woohoo!
I know, which is actually going to be no more soon, so made it out. But I studied creative media with a double major in graphic design. And so in my creative media major, it was essentially split into a few parts. So basically, you could kind of choose your concentrations and path. And so what I did was I started out in film, post-production, editing, live TV studio, web design, and then I ultimately ended my thesis in VR game development. So just really mixed media, diverse, but the biggest through line there is that, I'm just always been a tinkerer, builder, researcher. And in terms of how I got here, same mindset. I took probably the longest, most windy path to get here, I was a bike messenger for 4 years. I worked at a dating app internship, started out that went bankrupt. I was doing orientations when DoorDash launched in New York and Brooklyn. But then ultimately, right after college, I had just been connecting with another professor, and she'd been seeing my interest in mixed media, and she was like, you have a lot of passion with social good. And so that's how I started getting into creative management.
Gotcha.
And I started out in human rights. And then from there, kind of just moved around. And then I moved out to California. I did some web development at University of Southern California. It was, just too technical, rigid, and I didn't research enough. And so, I ended up finding my way back out here and came to advertising. Started doing producing at first because it was a lot of what I did in school with live production, making websites, just kind of being more of the orchestrator of getting those things out for different brands. And then ultimately I was like, hey, I dream about this stuff all the time, so let me share that with people, and that's kind of how I got here.
She dreams in tech, guys, so that's very important, all right? This is your guy, Jerome G, signing off. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Where can they find you at?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Alisha Tené Bunting, and also Instagram, Alisha Tené Bunting.
All right, guys. Signing off. Have a great day.